Khairi Saadallah, a name I have never known and never heard before until about 1 month ago when I received this comment, and I quote, "Khairi Saadallah, can we do a video on why another fatal stabbing has occurred in Britain? Interested to see your perspective." Right, so as I mentioned, I have never heard of this name before, never known him. And so what I did was I googled the name, and this is what come out. So this is from The Sun, and the title of this article is "Park Rampage, Who is the Reading Terror Suspect Khairi Saadallah?" This is from 22nd June 2020. 3 men died and 3 others were seriously injured in a knife rampage at a park in Reading. Right, so police have confirmed the multiple stabbing are being treated as a terror attack, as the suspect was named as Khairi Saadallah. And in the same article, this illustration is shown how the carnage unfolded. So starting from 6:50 p.m, revelers were enjoying beers and good weather in Forbury Gardens. The knife men attacked middle-aged men drinking beers in a large group. And then at 7 p.m, police and paramedics were called to reports of multiple stabbings. And then 7:05 p.m, a heroic police officer rugby tackled the knife man to the ground within 5 minutes of the first call. He was arrested at the scene. 3 men died in the attack, while 3 other people said to have been seriously injured were taken to the Royal Berkshire Hospital. And at 11 p.m. later that night, counter-terrorism police swooped on the suspect's flat around a mile from the scene, where they carried out a controlled explosion. Alright, so this is when I see this, I thought to myself, this is interesting. I'm not talking about the news. The news is horrifying, it's terrifying. But I thought what is interesting is, why is the comment wanting my perspective on it, right? So that is interesting. Why is my perspective being sought after in this event, this horrifying event, right? So then what I thought is, okay, looking at this name, perhaps he is a Muslim. It makes sense. Khairi Saadallah, you would thought he will be a Muslim, right? So perhaps that's why the comment is directed for my perspective on the stabbing incident, right? So what I did was I did some research by that, Google, and want to see what is going on, who is this person. And basically this video will be laying out what I have found and what my perspective on the limited information that I have, right? So without further ado, let's go into the articles that I have found. This is again from The Sun. It says, Saadallah arrived in the UK in 2012 as a tourist before claiming asylum on the ground that his life was being threatened by Islamists in Libya. A relative told the Mail he was at risk of extremists in Libya because he liked to drink and socialize and didn't really lead a strict religious life at all, right? So that is interesting. So he was running for his life from the extremist because he liked to drink and socialize. So generally speaking, I'm not going to comment about the extremists. I'm not familiar at all about what is the situation in Libya. I cannot comment on that at this note, right? But when a relative saying that he liked to drink, obviously when some remark like that, it meant alcohol, right? I believe that will be the assumption, right? Because if you like to drink water, that will not make the news, right? Why is the issue of this, right? So just there, it is quite interesting. So okay, because as a Muslim, when someone is being referred to as a, how to say, if he done something due to Islam, for example, right, which is the first assumption why my perspective is being sought after with this news, then if it's revealed that that guy actually like to drink alcohol, then generally Muslim would say, okay, That's the first litmus test of how Muslim are you. Okay, I'm here to be clear. I'm not saying any Muslim who commit the sin of drinking alcohol is thrown out of Islam. I'm not saying that, but the level of commitment to the basic Muslim practices is normally out of the window, generally speaking, right? So that's number one. And then going through the article, the same article, so that's the picture. Saadallah 25 was reported already on MI5's radar. So I'm not sure what that is all about, but some of the things mentioned here, Saadallah has at least one previous conviction for a minor violent offense. Okay, so he has some history there. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, and he is thought to have spent at least 12 months in jail. Another thing, he was being supervised by the National Probation Service, and court reports suggest a number of additional convictions for a man of the same name, age, and address. Okay, so none of the previous convictions are believed to be terror related, etc. Right? So, but still, it is under the radar of MI5. Right? So I'm not very familiar of MI5. MI6 might be more famous, but I think that's the organization that overlook this kind of things, right? Next, this is from BBC News. Reading stabbing attack suspect Khairi Saadallah known to MI5, according to sources. So another news article that mentioned the same thing, right? So okay, we'll just focus on this part because about the MI5, okay, that is the thing. But when I read further, this is quite interesting comment that I noticed, right? A friend of the suspect told BBC's Home Affairs correspondent Daniel Sanford that Saadallah had seemed to be a normal, genuine guy and had been someone with whom to smoke cannabis. Okay, he drinks and smoke cannabis. Kieran Vernon said, he seemed like me and you. Whenever we used to meet up, we used to talk and drink whiskey, okay, confirm alcohol, and how different ganja affect the different thinking of mind. Okay, so cannabis, ganja, of course. And that's pretty much all what we chat about. And Mr. Sanford was also told by neighbors of the suspect that he once threw a television out of the top floor window and was regularly visited by a mental health key worker, right? So, okay, now there's a mental health issue in the discussion right now, right? So we have what just now? We have drinking, and then we have ganja or cannabis, and then we have mental health issue right now. All right, so there are many things that can be uncovered, perhaps, and I'm not sure what it is all about, right? So this is again from The Sun. Why was he free? Reading terror suspect Khairi Saadallah released from mental hospital days before attack after severe psychotic episode. Alright, so this is more on the mental health issue, right? Anger grew on Tuesday over why terror suspect Khairi Saadallah was not detained before he alleged kill spree. He was held after 3 people was, okay, that was about the incident, right? So this one, the alleged spice addict, so the news article zoom in on the cannabis issue, right? Spice addict collapsed from a severe psychotic episode following a drug binge just days after being released from jail. Okay, so a lot can be discussed here, although I'm not an expert in this field or even in the topic in general, but so far, if the initial intention of asking my perspective is what Islam has to talk about this, but as we can see from the information that we have just now, right now, it's not religion related issues so far, right? What we can see is it's how to say, if you can make the correlation, right? The drinking habit and the mental health is something that you can try to see whether there's any correlation or not, right? The Sun can reveal he was discharged from Reading Prospect Park Mental Hospital last week. It is feared that a failure to sanction him under Mental Health Act freed him to launch into another bender. It caused him to go off radar the day before Saturday evening stabbing in Reading Park. The Libyan asylum seeker was taken back to his flat in the south of the Berkshire town despite apparently breaching the terms of his release. So there are reasons that should have preventing this guy to be free, right? But from what I can understand, the next day he is alleged to that was the episode. So he was already, because here it says severe psychotic episode following a drug binge. So if you want to say this guy is a Muslim, it's from what is being revealed, it's quite far from it, right? From action wise, from practice wise, right? I'm not sure about the official religion. I'm not sure because there's nothing mentioned about that. I'm not sure about will it that be, right? Now, Reading murder suspect Khairi Saadallah and a mother, meaning his mother, says he should have been in a mental health unit, as it emerged that he was on government's de-radicalization scheme. So, Khairi Saadallah's family says that the terror suspect was let down by the system. His mother, speaking in Tripoli, adds he should have been in mental health unit. Saadallah is in police custody, accused of carrying out horrific. Okay, so a portion of this article says, now his family claimed he was let down by the system, but with official document revealed he had been diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and emotionally unstable personality disorder. Okay, so I think this is psychological mental health words and terminology, so I cannot say what it is each of that, but it does indicate that it is within that scope of discussion, right? So I'm not an expert on that, but this indicates that this is a mental health issue, right? His mother, from the family or home temporarily, claims that something somewhere has gone wrong and has called an investigation. Alright, so, and I'm not sure about the radicalization scheme. I'm not sure what is that and how it related to this all this disorder, right? Personally, I do not know what that scheme is. Now, this is this is interesting. This is the first article that I found that relates to something with regard to religion. This is from the Sunday Times. Reading attack. Khairi Saadallah volunteered as a Baptist church before his conversion. When I read this, okay, before his conversion to what, right? So, because it's not clear, but it kind of hinted already, because Baptist church. So, did he convert to Christianity? That would be shocking. And then Khairi Saadallah at what is believed to be an army recruitment event in England. Okay, so that's the picture. So, the suspect in Reading Park attack volunteered at a Baptist church before converting to Christianity. So he is a Christian when he did commit that crime, right? Khairi Saadallah, 25, spent 3 months helping out at the Wycliffe Baptist Church in the town, but did not worship there, its operation manager said. Mr. Saadallah later announced his conversion to his family in a video from a church. Okay, so he revealed the information via video. I do not know. His sister said he was motivated by a wish to marry a British girl. So that so far is the information that we have, that I can find with regard to Khairi Saadallah, right? So I'm not sure if we go, because my first assumption when that question was asked to me, right, what's your perspective on this? Why me? The only logical thing that I can think of is, because the only similarities that I can think of is, okay, if he is a Muslim, because and I'm in my previous video I've talked about Islam religion, so it must be in that context. So I was searching and I'm expecting to see something relating to, oh, he's a Muslim, and then whatever radical idealism or whatever trigger him to do this. But it always focus on different things, and even those actions that were mentioned by relative, by friends, indicate that he is not a practicing Muslim. Drinking cannabis, and whatever things what was mentioned there. And that the latter part, he actually have converted to Christianity. But I'm not suggesting just because he is a Christian and he stabbed some person, we cannot say, people that convert to Christian tend to stab people. We cannot do that, right? Because that it's irrational and illogical to come that conclusion just because he want to marry a British girl or just because he want to become a Christian, that lead him to stab people, right? So I don't think that kind of conclusion is justified, right? Just because his religion, we want to blame that religion. Oh, Christianity lead people to stab people. I don't think that kind of conclusion is valid and rational, right? So I think the bigger issue here, from what information that we have, is the issue of mental health, and I'm not sure what else is because we do not know what is the trigger point, right? No information given, right? I'm not sure whether there's later information, because that was what I could find. So yeah, so my perspective is mental health is a serious issue, and I don't know what else to say, right? Because we have to, in that case, right, I'm not sure why the glitch occur, right? Because if you have, what is it, the psychotic disorder symptom or something, that should be, you should already take care of that and make sure he's okay before being released. But I'm not sure even that is, because I'm to the technicalities, I'm not sure what should be done. I'm not a psychological I'm not a person who know much about psychological issues, right? Psychiatric issues, I'm not sure. That's my perspective, what I can share, what I can comment on, based on, hopefully this, to the one who comment and asking for my perspective, hopefully this answers the way I look at it based on the information available in the article, in the news article. Alright, so that's it, I think. Thank you for watching. See you next time.